Good afternoon. I want to thank all of you for inviting me here this afternoon to spend time with you at this ever important conference. This conference focused on the unique academic experience, successes, and challenges experienced by Black males. I would like to take this time to thank Dr. Kalvin, Harvell, and his entire team for their dedication, commitment, and determination in the creation of this first ever conference. Your theme is key, it's crucial. Sankofa, reflecting, reconnecting, and recommendations, college success as our responsibility to the collective. That theme is pretty much what it is and why we are all here. So I want to take this time to thank all of you because this conference specifically focuses on you. It focuses on us. It focuses on us as a collective body that includes students, scholars, educators, program coordinators, administrators, parents, grandparents, and all community members. That means everybody. That means everybody. I just want to repeat that. Who are concerned about the academic successes, issues, challenges, and ultimately the effect and affect Black males and females from grades K through 12 experience. And this gathering here is about creating opportunities in your place, for your place, in the space of higher education. That means college. So I'm grateful to be among all of you, to share time, a safe space, and in addition to me having a deep and difficult dialogue with all of you as we embark on greatness in all of you in spite of all of our challenges. So I'm going to read my message so that I may stay on track based on what you all have in store for the rest of the afternoon of this ever important conference. Although I can't physically see all of you and I'm delivering this message by video, I see this gathering as a collaborative celebration. Co-laborers in social justice operating in the spirit of humanity. And that means all of us. Now, we are all on assignment here, no matter what your title is, no matter what your role is. And the purpose of why we're convening today is to enhance, develop, create, enrich, increase the academic imagination that we have for you, that you all are holding us responsible for. But we also have to make sure that our character, our dignity, the respect, and integrity of all Black students are at the forefront. Now, I'm going to speak this message to you in the capacity of love. And if you really want to know whether you love another human being as much as you love yourself, then you have to ask yourself what you can do, or if you have done everything that you can possibly do to make sure that a young person has an opportunity to succeed in a higher educational setting. Now, based off of why we're all here today, we know there are many dynamics, we know there are many complexities, and we all don't have the answers, but we are here to not just come up with these solutions. We are here exchanging ideas in a very diverse way that is going to focus on Black male and females being able to attain a college education. Now, I'm also going to come to you with my authentic heart, my vulnerable heart, and my conflicted heart. I'm not going to sugarcoat anything, and I'm not going to make my message as a feel-good message, because we know that there are so many challenges that we're all experiencing in order to be able to reach and grab education as a whole. But I am coming to you with my story of grief as it sits inside my story of love. My complicated grief is not a one-way ticket to my self-betterment, but it's my choice to find meaning and share with you my meaning, my growth, and my will to survive in the midst of my tremendous loss. And this is a call to action. That's what social justice is about. That's why we are here. And my message to you is an action of my personal sovereignty and self-knowledge as I learn to carry it, and I have to share that with you. Now, my experiences as a mother, as a daughter, as a member of my community, as an educator, as a student, as a mentor, as a mentee, as a youth advocate. I'm a caregiver, I'm a grandmother, I'm a conflict manager, and there are many other roles that I classify as my unique assignment, and it has resulted in my commitment on why I'm delivering this message here to you today. And my commitment in working with youth and teaching youth how to manage the drivers of conflict resolution, anti-violence, and violence prevention, which this is an interdisciplinary study as it relates to higher education. But these are also lifelong skills that you need to be able to have in order to be able to navigate all of your experiences in life as it leads you wherever you are, as it relates to whether you're in elementary school, middle school, high school, and college. So my title at Wayne State University is the Community Dispute Resolution Specialist for the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies at Wayne State University. And basically what I do is help community as well as campus as a whole. That means students, staff, faculty, all of the intersections of a college campus on how we may be able to resolve our disputes, our issues, our conflicts, our disagreements in a peaceful manner to get the best desired outcome for both parties. All groups, a couple of groups, some groups, but that's my role. I also am faculty. I teach social justice activism, which is a special topics class at Wayne State University. So basically what I teach about is the role that social movements play from a historical level and why those social movements came to be. The theories of collective action, the reason that we're all here together, solidarity, consensus. So my many facets of what I do at Wayne State Universal is truly interdisciplinary. But my role as an activist, as an advocator, for higher education, for education overall, and the ways that we must attain education in its equitable form for all of us is truly my fight. I am a youth champion. I'm a youth advocate. I listen to young people. I listen to youth. They do listen to me. You all do listen to me, but I am in your corner, and I have dedicated my life in helping you all getting to where you need to be. So I'm going to share with you that me, my daughter, and my entire family are carrying a painful, complex, complicated, and tremendous loss. I do have a grief story for you, my complicated grief. I am the mother of a murdered son. 16 months ago, my only son, my youngest child named Conte. I have two children. I call them my two only children, Charmaine and Conte. My son Conte was murdered. He was shot multiple times, 7 times to be exact. 5 times in the back, once in the arm, and once in the leg with an AR-15 style semi-automatic rifle on October 30th, 2017. My only son was the 26th homicide in Colorado Springs, Colorado. Now keep in mind, I'm from Detroit. Born in Detroit, I raised and reared and educated my kids in Detroit. And when they became adults, they relocated. Again, my son was the 26th homicide in Colorado Springs, Colorado. My only son, who was 24 years old when he was murdered, was shot by his accused murderers, one who will be 18 years old soon. He was 16 years old when the crime was committed, and the other suspect, 23 years old at the time my son was murdered, who is now 25. I'm presently in Colorado Springs, Colorado, attending the murder trial of the 25-year-old who is the accused suspect. That's why I'm not physically at this conference today, but I felt so compelled when Dr. Harvell invited me a few months ago to be at your conference. And this is so important. This is so important, and that's why I am delivering my message to you via video. So yes, I'm currently dealing with that. I did not need for this to happen to my son or my family in order for me to know what my purpose was in life, because I was already operating in my purpose and my gift as a mother and as an educator. And I'm still committed in justice for you all as it relates to you being able to attain everything that your head and that your heart wants, along with the collective. But my message here is to really talk about that our collective attention span is very, very short. And we're here today collectively with one another to call out systems of domination and oppression that overwhelms both the external world that we live in and our own consciousness as it relates to the issues that we're all dealing with, as it relates to violence, not being able to get a quality education, housing, poverty, racial violence, domestic violence, gender violence, all of these things that culminate into a bigger picture. Now, as it relates to the levels of gun violence that's increasing our pain and suffering, we're all suffering because we're losing our younger generation due to gun violence. And when we commit and work for justice, it requires enormous morals. It requires enormous ethical consciousness, but most of all, love. The love for education, the love for learning, and the collective love for one another. Now, our rallying calls as to why we're here today and our calls and our cries to action is dedicated towards equality, peace, and a strong belief in our young people. A belief that we as people have the ability to transform, reform, and transfigure the world in which we occupy for all of the safeties and the protections that we all deserve. Now, what we need to stop doing is stop operating and living. Now, all of us do. All of us need to stop living and operating on oh my goodness, my tongue is tied. Individualistic platforms in our society that breeds greed, that brings anger, that breeds violence. Now, we can't continue to operate and allow this to exist. To counter greed, we need a sense of abundance. We need education, and we need it to be accessible to all of us, particularly Black males and females. To counter fear and trauma that we're all dealing with, we need hope. And this hope is evident because we're all here today because of that hope. And to counter violence, we need peace. Now, we gloss over, push aside, and ignore the issues, the darkness, the conflict, and struggles that precede all of the issues relating to accessibility to higher education and education overall. Now, we demand a resolution, we want answers, and we desire all of these solutions. But I believe in how we react to all of these conflicts as it relates to education. It reveals our core values about our own moral and humane journey. Now, we can get there, and we can get there collectively, all of us, but it takes everyone on every level from every sector in order to make this happen. Now, we can get there by simply adopting the theme on why we are here today, Sankofa, reconnecting and recommendations. College success as our responsibility to the collective. Now, what we need now is a transformational, reformative, and transfiguration of a cultural shift. Now, we're hungry for new cultural narratives that actually match up and line up with the realities of our lives that relates to the accessibility to education. Let me repeat that. We are hungry for a new cultural narrative that actually match up and line up to the realities of all of our lives. Now, our lives are transformed, reformed, and transfigured together. And what we all have in common, and we have to find ways, young people, we have to find ways in what we have in common, because we all carry these stories of our experiences, of our pain, of our grief, our stories of pain and grief. They need to be acknowledged. They need to be told. That's why I was compelled to tell you what I'm currently dealing with and what I've been dealing with for a long, long time. And pain and love must find ways to coexist. Let me repeat. Pain and love for one another as it relates to bringing each other up to that attainable level and ladder of education must find ways to coexist. Now, what we need now is to match the inside of our hearts and redefine what a happy and just ending really is. Now, if we're going to change the world, if we're all going to change the world in which we occupy, we must create these new and value-based experiences that relates to education in which we are to live in which we are to flourish in. And we must tell the truth. We must hold each other accountable. We must reconnect with each other. We must hold each other responsible with those truths. Now, what is the result when values related to education are ignored, trashed, and or forgotten? We have to ask ourselves over and over and over again, do our values related to higher education directly related to Black male retention and Black female retention, do those values really matter? We need to ask ourselves this individually and collectively. Now, I know you probably are all asking, okay, what is Barb Jones talking about? But I need for you to know that what we're talking about, no matter which college discipline you decide to go in, all of these things that I'm speaking of matter. Now, my story, our stories are very, very hard to hear. I have colleagues there from Wayne State University today with all of you. I have students, we have students collectively with my colleague, Dr. Savala. We hear these stories of pain. We hear these stories of grief. We hear these stories of successes, and we listen to you all. But these pains and these truths are hard for us as educators, as mentees, as mentors, as a listening here are very, very, very hard to hear. And the resources that we need in order to be able to collectively make these resources available, this is what we're here for, and this is what we're here today for now. Now, because we're not taught the skills on how to withstand all of these struggles within ourselves and in others, this takes bravery and courage. Now, being brave is not about overcoming what hurts or turning it into a gift or a purpose. Being brave is about waking up and facing each day determined to educate and be educated. When sometimes we'd rather just not wake up. Being brave is staying present while feeling your own heartbeat. Being brave is about having bold and radical courage and operating in faith that we may create and sustain educational opportunities, even when your whole world has been shattered. Now, what we need to bear witness to are the abilities to care. which is a great thing. And we also need the skills to confront issues and challenges related to education that we're dealing with, which is considered a bad thing. Now, if we combine these two words together for sustainable education as it relates to the attainment for college for black males and black females, these two words are called carefronting. Carefronting, I believe, is the unique combination of love and truth that is necessary for building human relationships and reconnection. Now, carefronting can be a very powerful tool. It's genuine, it's authentic. It's an authentic bridge that lifts, that supports, and encourages one another, especially our young people. To care is to grow, to care is to welcome, to care is to invite, to care is to support growth in one another, allowing the revelation of crucial facts that in turn create educational opportunities for awareness, for further education, insight, and understanding. And that's just a few. Now, carefronting unites love, compassion, kindness, and honest truth with a high regard for that relationship, for that reconnection, without the possibility of one giving away one's power to think, to choose, and to act. Now, with this type of honesty, one can love powerfully, love learning, love higher learning, be inspired by attaining higher learning, and our young people can be powerfully loving at the same time. And I'm not just going to limit it to young people, because young people need us. Now, this is just not about me. It's not about you, but rather it's about all of us. Although you may experience that you're alone in everything that it takes for you to get to college, or if you're already in college, we are alone together. Let me repeat. We are alone together. And please excuse the background noise. So I decided to come outside and finish wrapping up and close my message to you. Now, in closing, as peacemakers and as a peacemaker, you learn that in order for peace to be restored between people and systems and institutions and in organizations, we must take ownership of the process. Now, taking steps forward while considering the risk involved, and also accept the consequences for the agreed upon outcome is crucial. It's critical. It's necessary. Now, by the time all this is done, the peace achieved solely belongs and fully to all of us who are involved. Now, not to the peacemakers who assisted. Now, you see, peacemaking is conflict resolution, conflict intervention, conflict management. Peacemaking is the bridge building. And the purpose of the bridge is for all of us to walk on it. Now, the bridge is to be walked on and there for others to walk on it right along with everyone else. For others to cross and others to return. Now, making peace is often a long, torturous, repetitious, and tedious process requiring great patience and great endurance and great commitment. Now, peacemakers are people. Peacemakers are us who have developed and have the desire to have the long range vision and who are able to see the long term goals and results. We can't continue putting band aids on how we're going to get there as it relates to education. Now, peacemakers are people of stubborn patience with a long view of the human connection and the human experience and the human existence. Now, what we need now are peacemakers to take those long views, recognize all of the educational opportunities and the values that shape decisions. And these must be lasting values, values that transcend not only to one's culture, to one's race, to one's age, to one's gender, to one's nation, but to one's own lifetime, one's own century, and one's own millennium. Now, my consciousness is rooted in those values, and again, that's why we're here today. And those values have deep depth in history as it relates to humankind. In closing, I just want to show you a picture of my son. You may not be able to see it well, but I'm holding up my son, Conte Emmanuel Smith. And based on my horrific loss of my son, I'm trying not to cover my face, but I'm trying to point it to where you all can see him as well. I have established, as well as Friends of the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies at Wayne State University, have established the first memorial scholarship. And let me just read you the background information real quick. I am going to get Dr. Harvell all of the information in regards to the scholarship, and we will be awarding the first scholarship at Wayne State University under the under the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences, fall 2019. And basically, the background information is Conte Emmanuel Smith L., 24 years old, son of Barbara L. Jones, tragically died on October 30th, 2017, during his shift while at work in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He was shot multiple times. His murder and his assailants were identified and apprehended as a result due to multiple surveillance cameras. This scholarship is being created, or the scholarship is created in Conte's memory by his mother, Barbara, his sister, Charmaine L. Jones, and friends at Wayne State University Center for Peace and Conflict Studies, Barbara's Youth Violence Prevention, Bullying, Conflict Resolution, Civic Engagement, and Social Justice Advocacy, and entire career has been dedicated and motivated by Conte, her only son and youngest child. Conte's scholarship will be the first in the Center for Peace and Conflict Studies at Wayne State University's 53-year-old history to honor the memory of a member of the younger generation. From activism to academia, transformative change can only be made by the commitment and passion of change agents. The purpose of this scholarship is to provide funding opportunities to surmount the socio-economic barriers that students face, and students who are dedicated to promoting a more peaceful and equitable society. Conte's tragic loss is a reality that is shared by many others. Gun violence, along with other forms of violence and oppression, are narratives too prominent in our society. This scholarship is meant to support those who dare to dream of a different tomorrow. I'm here today with all of you on what is so beautiful in my life right now, because I stand not alone. I stand with all of you in the midst of my own community, my Detroit community, my local, my regional, my state, my national and international, as well as global community, with other grievers. You all, young people, you all are the reason that I choose to survive. I thank you all for listening to this message. I wish you peace, but most of all, I wish you love. God bless. Thank you. Peace.